You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Buddy Rogers, Johnny Valentine, Bobo Brazil, Bearcat Wright, Antonino Rocca. Rocca used to come on and tell the audience that he had his legs insured for like $1 million by Lloyd's of London, and I told my parents I want to get my legs insured so I can drop kick people. So I was a pretty crazy wrestling fan, and I might have been the first backyard wrestler in history, because when I lived in Maspeth, Queens, there was an area where my friends and I used to wrestle on the grass, and they had this chain link fence there, and one time my father had to pay a $20 or $100 fee to the co-op board because I forced these kids to wrestle there, and I put them in my figure four leg lock, and there became a bald spot on the grass, and eventually that bald spot became my identification in the business. So
very nice. We are the Undisputed Wrestling
No one ever won my 25-cent challenge and got out of my figure four leg lock. No one.
Ever.
No, and I still do it at a lot of places. I still do it at a lot of conventions and stuff. But the price has gone up to 50 cents now.
Uh-huh. This is the Undisputed Wrestling Show. We're talking to Bill Apter. I'm going to kick it over to Zane Paisley. Zane?
Well, once again, sir, thank you so much for complimenting my beard and for.
Oh, and I love your work on Duck Dynasty. I think it's tremendous.
We had creative differences, so that's why I joined the Undisputed Wrestling Show.
Oh, okay. I was wondering. I wondered.
Well, there's a few things I want to get out of the way before I ask my first question. You and I and Troy all have a mutual friend named R.D. Reynolds that is recovering from gallbladder surgery today. I believe that he had the surgery yesterday. So I want to send a shout out to him to wish him speedy recovery. And then
happy get well to you. Happy get well to you. Everybody, come on. Happy get well, dear R.D. Happy get well, honey, to you.
And he's my friend too, Zane.
Oh, that's true. He is your friend as well. But and the second thing is, there's a rumor that tomorrow's a big day for you too, Mr. Apter. Isn't that correct?
It is. Tomorrow is my birthday, depending upon when you're listening to this, of course. If you're listening to this live, it's tomorrow. If you've archived this, it's October 22nd.
Well, happy birthday, sir. Thank you for joining us on your birthday eve.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
My first question for you, sir, is all the quote unquote Apter mags were written in kayfabe, and you said that you were polite to them, that you dressed nicely, and that you would preserve whatever story that they were telling. Why was it then that later on in your career with WOW Magazine and now with OneWrestling.com, you kind of split off to more of the smart fans? What was there a conscious decision there, or did you just see that the times are changing?
Well, it's funny. First of all, do you know where the term Apter mags came from?
I know that it was after you, but you weren't the owner. You were the editor.
No, but do you know where it came from? Do you know who coined that?
No, who coined that?
So I'm going to tell you that. See, the magazines were Stanley Weston's magazines. I never owned any part of those magazines, but because I was out in the field and everybody knew me, and people like Ole Anderson and Jim Crockett and Vern Gagne put me on their TVs, people thought I owned the magazines. So Dave Meltzer used to write in the Wrestling Observer. He started nicknaming them the Apter mags, and I used to call him all the time and say, Dave, we have a whole staff of people here. I'm just a pimple. I'm one of the guys there. He said, but you're the guy everybody knows. So he's the guy that dubbed it the Apter mag. So in answer to your question, the kayfabe style of wrestler and inside wrestling and PWI and all that, of course, was done because we covered pro wrestling like it was a sport. That's how we did it. And there was nothing wrong with that. The business was changing. People were coming out saying what it was. And I had gotten Pro Wrestling Illustrated company was sold to another owner. And not long after it was sold, I was offered a very large sum of money to defect to WOW Magazine. And I knew WOW was a quote-unquote smart magazine, but I also felt beside the money, which would be great for my family, my 2 kids and my wife and I at that point, that the business was also changing. Was I spurred on by the financial thing? Absolutely, definitely. I wanted to make life better for my family. But I think when I went to WOW magazine, I told them that, yeah, I could do this whole smart thing, but it's got to be toned down a little bit because it's can I say pissing off on here?
Absolutely.
I just did. Okay. It's pissing off a lot of the promoters and people, and if we want to keep in good graces with people, so we toned it down a little bit when I went in there. So was it conscious? Yeah, because I felt things were changing. And then years later, as things started going to the internet, and Bob Ryder and Joey Styles were on AngryMarks.com back then, I decided once again I had to go with what is becoming and reinvent myself. And today, with OneWrestling.com, I brought the very first wave of interviews, video interviews, onto any pro wrestling website. And now I even do it with Skype, where, I'm in one box and there's another wrestling buddy in another box, like the Larry King split screen or a new split screen. So, yeah, I keep consciously reinventing myself. This is why I'm on Twitter and Facebook and talking to you guys. Had I stopped at my career, to me everything happens for a reason. Had I stopped at the days of Pro Wrestling Illustrated and all that, I don't know what would have happened, because today, as we were talking about right before we went on the air, there's only 2 wrestling magazines left, Fighting Spirit magazine and Pro Wrestling Illustrated. And I think maybe one in, in Japan. Maybe 1 or 2 in Japan, but that's it. So, I didn't want to get lost in the shuffle, so you reinvent yourself. And when guys my age are retiring, like I said, I'm, moving along to the point where I'm doing almost more than I ever did. I'm on the WWE Network now, too, and writing for their website at times as well. But my home is OneWrestling.com.
Well, since you mentioned your Twitter and Facebook, how can our listeners connect with you on there?
Well, on Facebook, they say I have too many friends. So if your listeners can just send me an instant message on there, or a friend request, which you can't, just hit me up on an instant message. And my handle on Twitter is @Apter1Wrestling, the number 1, not the word 1. And please don't put an N in Apter. Dusty Rhodes, ages ago, called me Willie Apner. And I have wrestlers like Baron Von Raschke, who I saw a few months ago, and he says, Apner, how you doing? I said, how do you spell my name? He said, A-P-T-N-E-R. I said, A-P-T-E-R. He said, damn, I've been calling you Apner for 40 years because that's what Dusty Rhodes calls it. Yeah.
Blame the dream for that one.
It's Apter1 Wrestling, @Apter1 Wrestling. Again, the number 1, not the word.
So is it a lot of, you'd mentioned seeing Baron Von Raschke at a convention, and you do get out to your fair share of conventions. What's your favorite part of that? Is it connecting with the fans, or is it seeing old friends?
Yeah. It's doing the interviews with the wrestlers, but connecting with the fans, because I'm always shocked when people know me. And they come over and say, boy, I read something you wrote in 1981, and I'll say, geez, I didn't even write that. He said, well, it was in the Apter mag. I said, well, it's not an Apter mag, it's a Western mag. No. My favorite thing is when somebody says, Bill, can I have a picture with you? And I say, only if you have a camera. And then they're like, have a phone? I said, oh, right, okay, all right. No pictures without something to take it with. But no, I enjoy mixing with the fans. I love it, definitely. I'll be on November 15th, Sinomania.com up in Bensalem, Pennsylvania. I will be there. So hopefully maybe some of your listeners can make it up there. I'd love to meet them.
Well, and you have a big event in March, too, with Jim Cornette, correct?
Yes, James E. Cornette. Yes, March 27th. March 27th. That's going to be absolutely huge. It's a tribute to Jim Cornette. And during the day, there's going to be a fan fest and a Q&A with Jim Cornette. So, and if you go to OneWrestling.com, we run quite a bit of information on that particular event, and I will be there. Absolutely.